Good morning, sports fans from all around the globe. I am your host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and this is your breakfast bankroll for Monday, March 7th, 2022. New week, new start, new beginning. Hope everyone had a good week last week. Hope everyone had a great weekend and finished up strong. If not, it's a marathon. If you're struggling, please run to your local, let's keep it local, athletic shop, buy a new pair of Nikes or New Balance or whatever running shoes you like and join the marathon. That's what we're here for. I can say this. Yesterday was our action parlay. Uh, we came up one game short, but at least we got to the second game. Instead of taking Tulsa plus 1.5, we had them plus 105 in the money line. And if anyone didn't see the final there, go to my timeline. They were down 2 with 2.8 seconds left. Well, they were down 2 with 2.8 seconds. And their opponent was shooting a free throw and clanked it, and they got the rebound and one dribble or two dribbles and 48-foot, nothing but net swish for the game winner. And it was the first time in a long time. As you see, I'm still smiling. We've been a part of something like that. You know, we've been a big part of the meltdowns. Up 20.5, lose outright. Up 20.5, don't cover, yada, yada, yada. So we are 8 days from our Vegas trip. Super excited. 17 days and nights. We'll be there for both weekends of March Madness. We were hoping to be there for open and pitch for the MLB. It's not looking like obviously that's going to happen, but hopefully we will get back to sunny Cape Cod and Boston for April 1st, and we'll be getting ready for baseball. But anyways, conference tournaments still tonight. Other big conferences getting going. A real kick in the, Wisconsin plus 300 to win the Big Ten. And they miraculously, as 12-point favorites, lose outright to Nebraska. So they were co-champs with Illinois, who beat Iowa last night. Illinois gets the 1 seed. So it'll be interesting how some of these books and casinos grade. Do they go with the co and the plus 150 cashes, or do they go with the fact that they're co, but Illinois got the number 1 seed, so therefore Wisconsin is second? But anyways, without further ado, let's bring in the co-host, the man with the plan, from the Palm Tree State himself, the one, the only, the myth, the legend, Mr. Scott E. Webb. Come on, Scott.
Good morning, sir. How are you today?
Well, I just need everyone to understand the internet, we all know, has a mind of its own. We do know that. And what's going on in Russia, Ukraine, or whatever, I do know a lot of people are having issues with the internet. I was one of them. I did not block my co-host, my partner in crime, Mr. Scotty Webb. I didn't block my own alerts. So when finally I said, you know what, I'm just going to shut the phone off for 15 seconds. Maybe it'll reboot. Well, it sure rebooted. I got about 35 text messages that I'm supposed to get from the weekend in about 5 seconds. Now, as I told Scotty, I go from downstairs where I got all my websites up to the studio, the office, and I can't get into one of my websites. It says wrong username or wrong password. It's the same damn one I used downstairs.
Well, maybe you got to turn that off and let it sit there for 15 seconds. I don't know. I don't know. Technology's funny, man. You know, it's all stuff. And I sit here and think about stuff that I've done, and I'm like, holy shit, I was just so stupid. I clicked the wrong link, or I clicked the date of a link from 2 days ago and it was supposed to be today, or I fat fingered something and typed 2 buttons instead of 1. And half the time it's me, and then half the time it's something else. But whatever. I mean, here we are. We figured it out, and we are back on the show. So interesting day for me. I mean, I had I had Cleveland yesterday. Cleveland wins, and then I have New Orleans plus the points, and uh, whatever. You know what happens when stuff goes into overtime. I mean, holy shit. I mean, they were good by a long way in that game, and then they lose by 10 points in the fourth quarter, and the game's tied, and then they lose in the overtime. So 1-1 yesterday for me, but whatever. It's the NBA.
I think I saw Denver closed out 10-0, 11-0 or something like that to end the game, to bring it to overtime. And you're right. I talked about it last Monday. We had Syracuse plus the 9. Box to wire, they're winning at North Carolina. North Carolina scores at the buzzer to bring it to overtime, and miraculously it lands on 9. And it's just amazing. They always say overtime is where dogs go to die. And it's kind of funny, though. When I have those favorites in overtime, those dogs still seem to be barking pretty damn loud sometimes.
Yeah, that's it's just interesting sometimes how stuff works, but for whatever reason, that overtime period is always advantage to the home team. Seems like.
New week, new start, new beginning. 8 days to Vegas. MLB. I don't have a lot to say. I guess they're going to try to go back at it tomorrow. It's kind of funny. I saw Odd Sharks yesterday put up a when baseball is going to start with some odds, and April. The actual favorite was June. Okay, and when I was talking with a few colleagues, someone said there wouldn't be baseball in May. And okay, listen, I know the owners, they don't make any money in April. I get it. I said sarcastically, as soon as they didn't get that March 1st deadline, my date in my head is always Memorial Day. Listen, they're not going to play in April. They're going to ratchet up in May, and we'll be having baseball in Memorial Day. Now, coming 2 years ago from a 60-game season, I just it's a bad look, and the question is, how many fans want a 140 game season? Everyone does, and the diehards don't want a 140 game season. We wanted a 162 game season here, guys. I kept saying the under over was 152 for a while there. Monday morning coffee. Thoughts about what's going on? What do you expect this week? Status quo, or just need to vent and get some shit off your chest?
Well, I don't know. I don't know how all that's going to work out with the baseball. What I can tell you is that after a 60-game season, and let me see if I can pull up some stuff. But after a 60-game season that we had, I'm trying to go back to what was that? 2019, right?
Yes.
So that don't look right. Where is the 60-game season? There it is. Okay, so the 60-game season. My problem with the 60-game season wasn't that we had a 60-game season, because at the time it was COVID, it was this, it was that, and there wasn't a whole lot of things going on. And I couldn't figure out why they weren't playing baseball games when they were golfing and doing other stuff. I couldn't figure all that stuff out. And I couldn't figure out why baseball couldn't take advantage of having the only league in the whole summer that was actually going to get people to play and do well. But I'm looking at the standings from that 60-game season. And if you remember, the Miami Marlins made the playoffs in that 60-game season. And I'm looking at their record. They were 31-29. After that happened, everybody thought, well, the Marlins were pretty good. And the truth of the matter is they weren't terrible, but they're certainly not a playoff team. And that is the issue with where we run across the problem with a 60-game season. if you don't play enough baseball games, then you end up with teams that aren't the best teams playing. And I can't see, where that's going to change if we do that again this season. If you have 100 games, I don't think you're going to get the best teams all that necessarily in there. So it's interesting to see maybe how this plays out and what happens. But a 60 game season, I think, proved out to be a farce. And it was great that we had baseball and all of that stuff. But the truth of the matter is that it's just not the same. I mean, that's why you have 162 games in Major League Baseball, because you do get to earn your way into the playoffs. Of course, if they stretch them out and get more teams in there, that's I don't want to say it's a slap in the face to 162 games, because the point of that is not for the purpose of anything more than getting more cities and more fan bases involved in making the playoffs. I mean, that's what that's about. I know everybody says it's about the owners making more money, but the truth is that they got to try to get the fan bases more involved somehow, some way. So that's what the owners are trying to do. But anyway, that being said, I have a hard time with almost anything under the 162, 150 type number. If we get to 140, that's better than 60. That's double what 160 was. If we get to 100 games, I mean, it's again, these are going to, I don't want to call them meaningless, but they're wiped out seasons. And not only are they wiped out seasons, but, trying to project what people are going to do in these seasons. And then the following year makes it even harder. I mean, I had issues coming off that 2020 season, trying to figure out what was going to be going on in 2021 with after the 60 games. And then, okay, how do you project a player based off of what he did on 60 games? Maybe he was hot the whole 60 games. I mean, I don't know. And then all of a sudden, you project that out, and then you kind of look at it and play it back, and you just kind of try to figure out where they are. And, sometimes your projections are good. Most of the time they're not. And it's because you don't have the history of numbers to back it and support it. So I'm not happy with the way things are going in Major League Baseball. I'm not happy that you have a negotiation after what just happened and all the bullshit that was going on in Twitter and the national media. And then they meet yesterday and have a conversation. They come out of it and going, well, the Players Association gave us something that was worse than what we agreed to in the beginning. So now we're taking backward steps, and I don't know what's going on with this stuff. Although I did see some interesting things, and one of them is that, and it's like I said before, I think there's some underlying things going on here, and it was admitted that the Players Association is being brainwashed by Scott Boras. And I think he has a lot to do with this. And I think he has a lot to do with why the players are so abstinent about not playing and doing these other things, because he controls a lot of that stuff. So then there was an article that was written that people are, the Major League Baseball was mad about at Jeff Passan. And they were mad at him about some of the derogatory things that he was making claims and statements on that weren't necessarily true. So there are a lot of there's a lot of behind the scenes bullshit stuff that's going on that people just need to mind their own damn business and stay out and let these things go and get negotiated, and let's get a deal.
Bob Nightingale was the March 1st hero on sports Twitter. If they had ever gotten an agreement, I think his follows would have tripled, and he would have been dropped the mic, and he was it. Now he's not the GOAT, that's for sure. That people despise him. We talk about these guys pass on Nightingale, Heyman, whatever. They write whoever they're going to bed with, basically, in a nutshell. I don't understand. Maybe you can enlighten me on this. There's a few issues that they want to get through. One with time clock or pitch count, not a pitch count for pitchers in between pitches. Number one. Number two, we've talked about the shift. And listen, I hate the shift. I'm an old school. Hit and run, bunt, suicide squeeze. I love the the first to third. I am a purist on that part. If you wanted, analytics is winning. It has won. If you want to move guys, you just can't cross the base. If that's how I would do it. But what I don't understand, maybe you can enlighten me. What does the bigger bases do, or what are they trying to do with the bigger bases?
Well, I think the bigger bases are for the umpires and safety. I mean, how many guys have you seen hit the bag and step on somebody else's foot or trip over their heel or hit the Achilles tendon and stuff like that? That's I think more or less a safety issue, and or for the umpire where, you get these bang bang plays at first base, and that they don't watch anything other than the runner hit the foot of the foot hit the base and then listen to the sound, and they try to compare the sound to the foot. But and it's a cleaner look, so to speak. But I don't even know how much bigger the bases are supposed to be honest. I mean, if they're going to be an inch bigger, what the hell ever does that mean? But anyway, that being said, I think it's just a safety thing. When it comes to the pitches, they've been trying this stuff in the minor leagues and things, and maybe it's working to a certain degree. But with, my thought would be is if you're in the minor leagues and you're on a pitch count, then you have a routine that develops your style of pitching that you can carry forward into the big leagues. And you don't need a pitch count in the big leagues. You just pitch. There's been these things I've been watching a little bit on Twitter with these videos that show up and they go, well, watch this. And they're back from 1970 or 1975 or 1967, whatever, back in the day. And it's just they pitch the ball. And the guy catches it, throws it back to the pitcher, and he's standing right there ready to pitch again. And the batter is standing in the box, and he's looking down to get a sign, and then he's ready to go. So in today's world, that's kind of, I think, what they're, I think the idea with all of this is let's put action back in the game and let the athletes be athletes. And my only concern with some of this stuff is the shift is bad for left-handed batters for the most part. It don't matter about right-handed batters. The right-handed batters haven't had really too much trouble with the shift as much. I mean, it's eliminated certain things for them, but it's not been anything but a lefty's big problem. So the other issue is that you got guys like Freddie Freeman, and Freddie Freeman comes up to bat. You're not going to shift against Freddie Freeman. You're just not, because he has the ability to hit the ball where you're not. And when you shift, you're making one area of general contact that this batter makes stronger. And then you are much, much weaker, actually at a big deficit when you got one guy covering the whole side of the field. And if you're a talented enough hitter to hit the ball into those locations, then that's what you should do. The problem with doing those things is that's not how they get paid. They're getting paid now based off of productivity. And that productivity has to do with, obviously, weighted runs created plus, getting on base, driving in. Well, I mean, I shouldn't say driving in runs. That's not even part of it anymore. But it's the power, it's the development of moving, getting on base, those kinds of things. And I just the game pay versus how people are getting paid and what's being played on the field are dramatic, meaning that guys are getting paid to have the swing arc be at a high, swing uppercut swing, and they're supposed to hit home runs and get launch angles and all that kind of stuff, and that's what they're doing. And now pitchers are compensating for that, because if you swing with an uppercut and you throw the ball as a strike, a hard fastball chest high, they can't hit it because the swing plane doesn't match the pitch. So they're not adjusting to the ball pitch to them anymore. They're just matching the swing plane, trying to match to where the ball will be, but they're not changing the swing plane. So anyway, that's why you get lots of strikeouts. So now Major League Baseball is trying to figure out how to get balls in play. And if you get balls in play, then you have athletes that have to make plays. And if they have to make plays, then you can see the athleticism and you can see different things. So there's complicated things with all of that stuff, I guess. But it's all simple. If you're a good hitter, you don't have to worry about a shift, and you can hit the ball wherever you want to for the most part. You know what you're looking for and how to adjust the swing plane and put the ball on the bat and move it, or bet the bat on the ball and move the ball.
I remember back in the day, Wade Boggs takes the first pitch strike, fouls the next pitch off, battle to 3-2, foul off 5 pitches, and then slap a double off the Green Monster. Okay. That's when baseball was baseball. In other words, you talked about the lefties. And listen, I saw more missiles from Ortiz that would make a softball team proud. I mean, the guys out in short right field throwing them out at first base. It's just, these are base hits way back in the day. And it is comical, about this shift. And you talked about the lefties. There's no one on the left side. So you literally could check swing a dribbler down the left side and you could walk or crawl to second base. Okay. So I know it's all about the home runs. I know the strikeout is accepted now. Okay. I know that's what the numbers say, but that's not baseball. I'm sorry. Baseball, hit and runs, first to thirds. Actually, the bunt's been out for a long, long time. But they talked about the small market teams. How do they compete? How did the Royals compete? How did the Cardinals used to compete? The same thing. Speed kills. I mean, they would have lineups where a guy's on first, it's a double, just give him second. Whether it was Willie Wilson back in the day, whether it was, some of the Cardinals back in the day. And the game has evolved. It's changed. I get all that. Okay. So for someone like myself, it's not a fun game. I'm the guy that has no problem sitting through a 1-0, pitches duel. I don't need the 9-8. I don't need that BS. But when they take part of the game away, it sucks. It really does suck, Scott.
No, I agree. I mean, I've always looked at it like this. If you're going to put somebody where the guy hits the ball, that's smart. But if you're a smart hitter, then you need to hit the ball where they aren't. And the issue becomes this, and I've always said this, and I've said it in a lot of writings, maybe not live like this, but pitchers are smart and hitters are stupid. So what I mean by that is that it's not a coincidence that a pitcher sets up a hitter where he throws an off-speed pitch on the outside corner and a batter hits it and slow rolls it, turns it over and it hits a ground ball on the pull side. They're not supposed to do that. That's not what's supposed to happen, but that's what does happen. If you hit the ball where the ball is pitched, then you can hit a line drive if you're a right-handed batter and it's on the outside corner and it's a slow pitch, you can slap that ball pretty hard if you wanted to. Line drive to right field, base hit. Not a problem. You can do it on almost everything. But what happens is those guys don't adjust their swing plane. So they take the swing plane, try to hit the ball, and because of the bat goes to the upper side, it's a swing plane like that. They hit the top half of the ball, it goes down on the ground, and because they're in front of the pitch, it pulls, and it's a weak ground ball to the shortstop or the third baseman. Then they throw them out. And it's a thought process that is different than what it used to be. Pitchers' thought processes haven't changed. Their job is to change the sequencing and their timing and the rhythm and where the ball's at, up, down, side to side of a hitter. The hitter's the one who's changed. The hitter has decided that I'm not going to change my swing plane and I'm going to swing, but I'm going to try to swing the same plane where the ball is pitched. That doesn't necessarily work because you have to change your swing plane to make good contact. And that's what's going on. They're not doing that. And I shouldn't say the majority are not doing that. You have guys that still bat over 300. You still have guys that get, 200 hits. And those guys do that all the time.
We have a lot of time to go over this. I don't think we will be having that open and pitch first week of April or maybe even second week of April. But I like to at least talk about baseball. It kind of brings a smile to my face. You talked about your KBO coming up. I'm actually going to do some research and some digging into the college ranks. I see a lot of people out there already chuckling, that they're playing the college game. I'm not just one to, you know, well, take the Texas Longhorns -3.5 runs against, Arkansas State or something like that, And a lot of those college games, you get the big odds and stuff like that. I'm not that guy, but today's board in the NBA, Scott, we got 3, 6, 8 games. I did have the Knicks yesterday. I thought that game smelt and it did win outright. My memory serves me correctly. This is their third game in 4 days. They played Friday, Sunday, and now Monday against your Tomatoes. I have to laugh here. San Antonio opened at 4.5, now 2. We talked about this on Friday, I think it is. I don't trust San Antonio as a 6-point favorite. And I think they lost that game outright, if I'm not mistaken. And they opened them 4.5, now 2. And the Lakers beat Golden State on Saturday night. Now they're all of a sudden they are cured, and here come the Lakers. Interesting board. Anything pop out for you?
Yeah, I got a couple of things I'm watching, and I actually played one game. So the game that I played is the first game on the board. It's Chicago and Philadelphia. I played that game under 232. Is it still 232 now?
Yeah. 232, yes. It's 231 at South Point, 232 everywhere else.
Yeah, on pregame it said the open was 230. Then when I looked at it over here at Wager Talk, it says open 229. And then now it's 232 is a number. So it looks like people are betting it to go over, but it went under, I guess, a little bit overnight or something. Anyway, what I like here is that Philadelphia is in a weird spot and Chicago's rested. So Chicago's off two days of rest, and Philadelphia, this is their third game in 4 nights, but they played 2 and then they were off yesterday. So what's interesting about what they were, where that looks like, and I got it pulled up here because I couldn't remember. I can't remember stuff anymore. I'm too old. But Philadelphia's schedule, so they played Cleveland at home on the 4th, and then the 5th they went to Miami and played, and then they have an off day on the 6th, and now they play home again against Philadelphia or against the Bulls, and then their next game is like 2 days away, and it's on the road. So this is a weird 1-game homestand, and it's just one of those flat type spots where, okay, well, I've just came off of a game. I'm on the road now. I'm playing at home, and then I got to go on the road again. And they were just on the road. So I think this is one of those weird spots, and I also think that it's a good spot for Chicago, being a rested team, to play some good defense. I always like to bet on the teams that are off a 2 days rest to play better defense. And the Chicago are in Philadelphia on defense over the last 2 weeks. Philadelphia ranks, I think, 6th. Yeah, they're 6th on defense. So I think the number's too high. My number comes in more in the range between 222 and 230. So I'm looking at, more like a 224, 225, 226 kind of score versus 232. I thought the 230 or 229 numbers that were out earlier are more retrospective to what I think the numbers should be. So I'm going to play that one under, and I already played it. Yeah, the one I'm kind of watching too is that San Antonio game. Because I think, like you talk about, are you going to respect the opening number? And to me, that was a pretty fair number. I mean, if you're going to give 4 or 4.5 to San Antonio, what side do you think you want the money coming in on? I think that means they wanted Laker money. I think they got Laker money. And my numbers tell me that San Antonio is the better team. So I like that number. I just wanted to kind of see how that played out before I wagered on it. And the other game that I like is I like Dallas over Utah tonight in more or less a pick 'em kind of scenario. But I wanted to see where the money went because looking at the money right now on pregame, there's not really any money flowing in yet. I mean, the best basketball game is $13,000 right now with the Jazz and the Mavericks. So that's not very much, but there'll be a lot on that game, I think, going in a little bit later. So our 430, we should be able to hit that number and see what that looks like. But that's where I'm at right now.
It's funny because I looked at that Dallas number and I'm like, okay. All of a sudden, Dallas is, and Luka's the talk of the town again. And, they're winning, they're playing well. So, very respected, 1.5 point favorite there. You talked yesterday, by the way, hats off on those 2 bets on the New Jersey Devils. They won in overtime 3-2. So, technically not a big bag play, but 2 lucky players. Cash to $12,000 and $11,000 over on that.
Well, I got another one today for you, but whenever you're ready.
Okay. I'm going to walk through some of the smaller games here, just some eye-opening. Townsend opens at 6.5, now 4.5 against Delaware. Here's one. Now, listen, guys. You guys, my loyal listeners, my Mr. Fade, Mr. Lucky, Billy Cullen, Marty Lowe.
Marty just said hello.
Good morning, Marty. How art thou? Roll Tide. The fact of the matter is this NC Wilmington team gets no respect. 0-0. Everyone bets against them every game, and that's all they do is win cash and win cash, spin, repeat, whatever the hell that stupid saying is. Today, College of Charleston opens up a 2-point favorite, now down to 1. Here's the difference, though. No one ever bets on this team. No one. This time, the public is betting on them. 67% of the bets, 52% of the money on Wilmington. Are you showing the same thing, Scott?
Nope. But I got $15,000 so far in the game. 64% of the money is on College of Charleston. 53% of the tickets is on NC Wilmington.
Yeah, well, all right. I'm just saying, if NC Wilmington becomes a public play, stay away. That's all I'm going to say, and I'll leave it at that. South Dakota State opened at 7, now 9. Here's another smelly one, okay? Again, wager talk numbers probably versus your numbers or my Sports Insight numbers. Let me go over here for a second. Let me see what Don Best is saying. See, the dogs are barking loud already. We can hear them. Okay, they got 1.5, 1. Okay. Actually, I wanted to go to Oral Roberts. They opened up at 1. This number opened real low. See, Wager Talk is showing 3. They're trying to show you tickets and money on Oral Roberts against North Dakota State. I'm showing here on Dawn Best a 1 to a 1.5. What's your ticket count money on rotation number 877, 878, Oral Roberts, North Dakota State?
I'm showing $4,000 on the game, so I'm not showing anybody really betting it yet. I'm showing 59% of the money on Oral Roberts and 52% of the tickets on North Dakota State.
I think that'll be a big public play. I just thought the number opened real low. Keep an eye on Oral Roberts. And, of course, everyone, make sure you're back at 4:30 for the closing bell. We'll have more information, more money, and more ticket counts. Another line that opened, I thought, in real low, rotation number 879, 880, Wright State and Cleveland State opened at a pick'em. Now, Cleveland State -1. It's Caesars. Wright State is -1, Scott.
Yeah, this one's kind of interesting because there's not very much on it. $6,000 so far, but this is showing 95% of the money and 85% of the tickets on Cleveland State.
I just think that was I think Cleveland State will be the public side. I lean Wright State there. So keep an eye on that one. Lafayette versus Georgia State. We had the Raging Cajuns yesterday. This is going to be a hell of a game. Let me see. It's the championship. Win and go dancing, lose and go home. So maybe you get a shot at the NIT or whatever, the NIIT or whatever. And there's that other one. I don't know if they're doing that one this year because of COVID or not COVID or whatever. But Georgia State opened at 2, now 3.5. I'm showing 60% of the bets, 88% of the money on Georgia State.
Yeah, 5,100 on the game, 56% of the money, 71% of the tickets on Georgia State. But the story is the one above that one.
Furman and Chattanooga.
Yeah.
Rotation number 883, 884. I have an opening number here of 1, now 2.5.
Yeah, this shows an opening number of pick, and now it's 2.5. Jeff, there's $33,000 bet on this game. And we just said there's $5,000 bet on that other game you just talked about, and we just said that there was $6,000 bet on the other games we've been talking about. There's $33,000 bet on goddamn Furman, for sake, Jesus. So I looked at that and I'm like, what the heck is going on with that? And the bets on Furman, they had a guy come in at about, I don't know, 10:30 this morning. He puts a little bit of money, like 1,800 on the game. And then at 10:30, a guy comes in and puts $2,300 on the game. It hasn't been like this huge, $10,000 bet here or $10,000 bet here, but it's a continuous, constant $2,500, $1,500, $1,800 type number. And right now, that's where the things changed because they've had to catch up the money when they're betting on Furman. At 9:30 this morning, somebody walks into the sports book and says, I want Tennessee Chattanooga. Here's $7,000. Put $7,000 on Tennessee Chattanooga at 9:30 this morning. And then there's another one at 11 o'clock. They put 5,500. So you got 2 big bets so far on Tennessee Chattanooga.
Be interested to see where that goes at 4:30 today at the closing bell. I talked about Lafayette, Georgia State. The Zags versus San Fran at the Orleans in Vegas. I wish I was out there. Rotation number 887, 888. I think it was 2 Saturdays ago. San Fran was at home. They were +9, and the Zags just jumped out and waxed them. This line opened at 12, now 15, Scott.
Yeah, 23,000 on the game, 73% of the money, 68% of the tickets on Gonzaga.
And 889, 890, Santa Clara at St. Mary versus St. Mary's, also at the Orleans. Opened at 4, now 5. I think the line opened a little low to attract St. Mary's money. I would assume that the WCC is hoping for a Gonzaga St. Mary's final, so Gonzaga can get their revenge and beat them by 40. But I thought that line opened a little low.
Yeah, this is 23,000 on the game, same as the one before, but 55% of the money on Santa Clara, 60% of the tickets on St. Mary's.
Any bags in hockey, Scott?
It looks like, let me pull this game up. Toronto and Columbus has $18,000 on it. Not necessarily the biggest game. Edmonton and Calgary has 22. So I don't think there's anything crazy, but let me see. There was a bet on Toronto for $5,500 or $4,500 so far. That looks like the biggest bet on that one. And there doesn't look to be, let's see, what about this Calgary game? Holy cow. So Edmonton doesn't have any money bet on them, only $900. So here you go. So Calgary goes from at 9:50 this morning. They had $1,500 bet on them. Then they get 4,400 bet on them at 10 o'clock. So now they got 5,900. Then there's a bet to get them from 64 to 85 but that's not the big one. Here's the big one. Just a little bit ago, somebody came in and put $8,000 down on Calgary. So Calgary is starting to really ratchet. They got $16,500 of those bets, which was what, $20,000 or something. So
Yeah, most of the games are minus 200 or 180, 195. So we'll keep abreast on that one. Again, want to really, really thank all our devoted, loyal listeners. We can't thank you enough for all that you do, for all your tweets and retweets and your shout outs. And again, if I don't get to say good morning or anything like that, when I go to one of my screens, I can't see the DMs, but Scotty keeps us informed. So good morning, Marty. Roll Tide, brother. With that said, we will be back at 4:30 for the closing bell. Scotty, any closing remarks?
Well, no, I mean, today's Monday. Don't get yourself too worked up over some of this early stuff this week, because the better college basketball tournaments and conference games and stuff come towards the end of the week. And then what you got the brackets. You get to fill the brackets out this week, later on, Sunday, I think, probably, right?
Yeah, the tournaments wrap up this weekend. And then selection Sunday, brackets, and that's all you're going to hear for the next couple of days after that. Brackets, and more brackets.
Oh yeah, I should mention one other thing. Steph Curry's not playing today, by the way.
Load management for the little peanut.
I guess so. I don't know. You'd think LeBron James wasn't going to play because he scored 56 the other day. I mean, holy crap, his arm probably fell off.
And then Tatum gets 54 less. Hey, listen, as much crap as I want to give the locals, the Celtics have 14-2 their last 16. You can get some amazing odds on them. Listen, if you believe in the Celtics, you can get amazing odds. Here's the hardest thing I have to fathom right now. I think the Nets have lost 17 out of 19. KD is back. We're still waiting on, obviously, Simmons. I don't even know if Seth Curry's been playing for them. I don't know what Drummond's has been doing. But here's the hardest thing, Scotty, I have to swallow. The Nets are still 6-1 to cut the Nets down. So either Vegas was just so crushed at the beginning of the year on this team. Think about that. They have lost 17 out of 19. They have fallen into the abyss. And I'm not talking lobster bisque. They're 6-1 to cut the Nets, Scott.
Yeah, that's star power. I mean, it's one of those things when you got Kevin Durant. I mean, he's one of the best players in the NBA, right? He's going to get you in the playoffs. So the question's going to be is what are they going to do when you get there? And are there really any dominant teams in the East? I mean, there's good teams, but are there dominant teams? I mean, the Miami Heat is leading the East. And I don't consider them to be a dominant team, although they just went 3-1 against a pretty tough schedule against some of the teams in the East. So I don't think Brooklyn's the greatest team in the world, but they got, if you got Kevin Durant, that puts you in a spot, and you get hot. Kyrie Irving starts to play home games, and then all of a sudden you got something. So I don't know. I understand it. And I understand, if you were to take and change the odds and put them back, how much money would people be putting on the Nets? So I think maybe it's just protection.
We shall see. We shall see. So everyone, thank you. If you're not subscribers yet to our YouTube channel, could you please run over to YouTube at East Coast Sports Investors and just hit the subscribe button. It's free. Then you can smash the like button if you want. You can tell a friend, tell your neighbor. With that, myself and Scott back at 4:30 for the closing bell. Always remember this. If you are investing or wagering today, do it responsibly. And if you have a problem, pick up the phone. There's an 800 number available. Ask for help. Why? Myself and Scott care. We'd like to see you here today, tomorrow, next week, next month, through 2022 and beyond. For myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest, and Scotty at Webby 20 MLB. We wish everyone a blessed day, and we will see you soon.